fact, our electricity output grew fourfold in the last 7 years. But most importantly, I think the point that we need to focus on is 20% of this is actually coming today from solar, from green energy, which I think is a laudable effort considering the size of Telangana geographically. Because there are far bigger states in India in terms of geography, in terms of size. But beating all of them, coming to the second rank or usurping the second position in producing green energy is something truly a testimony to the Honorable Chief Minister and his leadership. And the flagship program of our Honorable Chief Minister, because he always reminds us, especially as Industry Minister, whenever I interact with him, he reminds us that industrial expansion is important, but it cannot be at the cost of environment. Therefore, he's launched a massive program of greening called as the Haritaharam, which literally translates into a green necklace for Mother Earth. That's what it translates into. And through this program, in the last 7.5 years, we have been able to plant, you would not believe this, Alberto, but you can definitely check it. We've been able to plant more than 2 billion saplings in Telangana, and more than 85% of these have survived, taking our green cover to a massive increase of 632 square kilometers in the last 2 years alone. And today, in fact, I'm happy to also share with you another reason why Hyderabad should be a host city for Formula E is because we are the city in the country, in India, that tops on highest greening in the last decade. Our green cover grew by 147%. So therefore, you said you've been to Delhi. You said you've been to Delhi before. We've crossed Delhi, we've beaten Mumbai, we've beaten Bangalore, we've beaten Chennai. I think we are that city that truly can claim to be a city that focuses on greening, to be a city that focuses on sustainability. Therefore, a most logical, natural choice to host Formula E as well. And I also wanted to point out a couple more things. Our EV policy, our electric vehicle and storage policy, moving away from fossil fuels to EVs, is something that we take very, very seriously. And it's one of the most progressive, most forward-looking policies launched in the country, and a great forward step towards creating a clean, green, sustainable environment for ourselves and, like I pointed out, to our future generations as well. There will be a day, in the not so distant future, where almost every vehicle driven by all of us, in fact, will be an electric vehicle. This is bound to happen whether we like it or not. This is only because I think, like I pointed out, governments across the world, people across the world have now come to the realization that climate change is real. What is happening is real. Therefore, we need to also start acting and start really delivering on the promise. We are going to also witness a revolution of electric vehicles in India. And Telangana state, in fact, wants to be the epicenter of this revolution, of this activity, and we want to be at the forefront, leading the entire country. So therefore, why Formula E? Why Telangana is so keen to have him here? Is because I understand that Formula E from the FIA family is one of the fastest growing sports, among the world. Its viewership, in fact, is more than half of Formula 1 and is increasing every year quite rapidly in the last 8 seasons. Probably by the end of this decade, its popularity may be equal to that of Formula 1. In fact, Formula E promotes electric mobility and renewable energy solutions, and that's where I see a great fit between Greenco and the FIA family. It also brings together the leaders of automotive industry who have pioneered the electric vehicle transition, such as Nissan, Jaguar, Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, and Maserati, and most significantly our own team led by Dilbagh Gill, our Mahindra Racing, our pride of India. Now, Dilbagh, I've heard that you guys stood third in Berlin, but I think with home advantage in Hyderabad, you might actually be the champions. You might have a podium finish. So I wish you all the very best, and let's hope that in Hyderabad, with all the home crowd cheering for you in India, I hope we'll actually do much better than what you've done in Berlin. Now, today we signed an agreement to be the candidate host city, but I'm very hopeful and very confident that we will be hosting the race. And we also want to ensure that around this race, whenever the dates are announced, we want to ensure that around this race, when we join the leagues of Rome, Paris, London, Hong Kong, New York, Berlin, Monaco, among all the other 18 cities, we also want to ensure that the city's image, the social infra, the city's image also, in fact, is given a huge fillip because of this event. We also will want to promote more awareness around EVs. We also will encourage more innovation happening in this space. So therefore, whenever the event happens in the next few months or at the end of this year or possibly the first quarter of next year, we will also be hosting an EV summit. It would be a 3-day event. So we would also want to bring in all the leading EV players in the world to Hyderabad. We would want to interact with them, understand from them, and what are all the technological changes, all the charging infrastructure companies that are there in the world. We would want to, we would want to bring them to Hyderabad, Telangana, understand exactly how Telangana can play an important role in making sure India also gets really, on the fast track to, EV revolution. Hyderabad is one of the fastest growing cities in India and is also rated by JLL as the most dynamic city in the world. It continues to remain among one of the most livable cities in India. In fact, Mercer has been rating Hyderabad as the most livable city in India among the living standards last 5 years in a row as the #1 city in India. Now it continues to build on its infrastructure. We continue to add more road infrastructure. We continue to add more urban infrastructure under a very ambitious program run by the government of Telangana called as the Strategic Road Development Program. We also have world-class convention facilities in the form of HICC, and we also are in fact a huge, truly cosmopolitan city where the north meets the south and where the entire world actually comes to a confluence point. Our government in fact has ensured that if you really have to live up to the billing of a global city, we also need to be able to assimilate cultures. We also need to be able to add to the social infrastructure. We've also made sure that not just the rich heritage and history of Hyderabad, but also the new age vibe that comes with modern industries such as information technology and others are also truly blended in with the wonderful rich heritage and culture of the past. We also in fact believe very strongly that with Formula E coming to Hyderabad, we will be one of the most electrified states in the country in terms of mobility. We also have a lot of plans for mobility. In fact, we are working with several large automobile manufacturers and others to set up a mobility cluster in Hyderabad, about which in fact I'll be disclosing more in days to come. We want to make sure that EV adoption becomes easier. We also want to make sure that the charging infrastructure companies come in, work with TAs Redco and others to ensure that the people of Hyderabad, Telangana are given better access to EVs. And we also want to ensure, more importantly, that we create a manufacturing ecosystem for electric vehicles in Telangana. Toward that, in fact, we already have received a great deal of interest from several electric vehicle manufacturers. We have 2 industrial parks which are dedicated toward this, one in a place called Sitarampur in Shabad and another one in Divitipalli. We also are in fact going to be home to about 4 electric bus manufacturers who will start their factory construction soon. And we also are in fact now in discussions with 3 cell manufacturing companies, and we are going to also announce those plans very soon. We want to ensure that the manufacturers who are interested in lithium-ion battery manufacturing and cell manufacturing are also given encouragement, and we also would like to encourage battery recycling plants because that is going to become a necessary industry in future to fit into our overall vision to reduce carbon emissions. Now, once again, without boring you with more details, Formula E racing in Hyderabad is the right fit, in my humble opinion, to become, for Hyderabad to position itself as an EV hub in India, and it is a feather in our cap. I believe that Formula E is more than a race. It's not just about 24 cars racing each other. It is a perfect union of future technologies, sustainability, and most importantly, spirit of innovation. It is a significant medium to spread awareness about electric mobility in our country. It shall spur the spirit of racing towards an electric future, shall capture the imagination of our youngsters, new industrialized future, new decarbonized future, a better future, and we are excited to be a part of this wonderful initiative. Once again, I thank Alberto, Dilbag, Kiran, and the entire team. And I thank the entire media fraternity and everybody in attendance here also for encouraging and supporting us. Thank you. Jai Telangana.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I now request Dr. S.K. Sharma, Additional Director, EV and Energy Storage Systems, Government of Telangana, to please give the vote of thanks.
At the outset, on behalf of Government of Telangana, I would like to thank the Formula E team for making the event happen. I'd also like to thank team from Mahindra Racing for facilitating the Formula E coming to Telangana, and also Mr. Kiran Gawada for the efforts he has put in towards this. Thanks are also due to Greenco leadership for their unstinted support. We also thank Mr. Akhil and Mega leadership for supporting us. And members of press deserve our gratitude along with our guests and people of Telangana. Last but most importantly, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for his guidance and leadership in making this summit a success. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to all the dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. I'm Shivani Sen, wishing all of you a wonderful day and a racy year ahead. Please join us for lunch in Hyder Mahal. The way towards Hyder Mahal is from the back of the hall. Thank you.
Trying to predict the future is a discouraging and hazardous occupation. If by some miracle a prophet could describe the future exactly as it was going to take place, his predictions would sound so absurd